Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. It's wedding week, and we've got some bonus content for you guys today. How alumni of The Bachelor make influencer income. Katie Thurston on her vlog shared some interesting insights into the behind-the-scenes economics of what it means to be an influencer within Bachelor Nation. Follow me on Instagram at dneals. And if you want behind-the-scenes content of my actual wedding week, including the ceremony, I'll have that posted on Patreon at patreon.com/Dave Neal. All right, let's get into it. I'll play a few clips from Katie Thurston's most recent vlog. You can go check her out on her YouTube channel, Katie Thurston. Here she is. Let's hear what she has to say about making that influencer money.
One thing I do is basically network. Like, you're putting yourself in front of brands saying, hey, you should hire me. I mean, it's a little more, professional than that. But yeah, for example, right now I'm looking at a company called Bug Hut.
Bug Hut.
It looks like they are like a plant growing type company, like soil and certain boosts for plants, whatever. Well, I have plants. I have a whole yard of plants. So I was like, oh, I'll apply.
Now, I think this is funny because we do sort of the same thing. I personally don't source, like, I'm not an influencer. I'm a content creator. And I know Katie will also, talk about content creating versus influencing. But my fiance has a very small but niche Instagram following, around, 65,000 people. She gets paid once in a while to promote products. And sometimes she'll be like, hey, babe, have you ever heard of this green tea, whatever? And I'll be like, no. She'll be like, well, it looks like it's got good reviews. All right, check it out. You have to research the product unless you're just some sort of like hack who will promote anything. But of course, your brand's not going to do well with that. But Katie's like, all right, I like plants. This is a plant-based product. Let's check this out.
We'll see what happens. But you just never really know. Like, there's not a lot of creativity when submitting yourself sometimes. Like, right now, they just want my information. Like, there's no like cover letter. There's no, here's why you should pick me. It's literally all like data. Like, what's your handle? How many followers do you have?
And, to share with my audience, I had someone recently this week reach out to me saying, hey, can we promote X, Y, and Z brand on your page? And they asked how much my rate would be. I told them $1,500. Would I do it for less? Maybe. Would I do it for more? Most certainly. But it wasn't, I know that these companies aren't going to pay 10 grand to be on my channel. It's much smaller. But I was also like, all right, if it's a product I believe in, if it's some weird product that might turn off my audience, they'd have to pay a lot more. I know people have asked me about people have inquired about advertising on my channel, things that are like medical based. And I'm like, I don't want to get involved in that. I don't want to promote something that, a year down the line, you find out it's got some toxic thing or whatever. Like, it's just not a safe place to be.
Because people ask, how do you get brand deals? Well, sometimes we look for brands, connect with brands, talk to brands. And when I say we, I mean myself, my team. Sometimes it starts with me sliding into a DM on Instagram of a brand. Sometimes it's a brand reaching out. So this one, it looks like yesterday, I won't say which brand, but they reached out and want to work together. But of course, everyone wants to know rates. And that's the hard game. That's a hard game with being an influencer. Fuck, I said I wasn't gonna use that word anymore.
What do they say always? Like, whoever says the first price loses. Is that what they say when it comes down to rates? Like, yeah, you always want to know, like, yeah, how much do you charge? I don't know. How much money you got?
There's no scale. There's no black and white. Like, people get away with charging a lot. People get away with charging very little. It's really just like all over the place, which is tough because it just sucks to learn that maybe someone that is like equivalent of you somehow got like 10 grand more than you, But then you have people equivalent of you who are telling this brand they'll take 10 grand less than what you are presenting to them. So of course they're gonna go with that person instead, So it's just like this crazy game of like cat and mouse of just like negotiations, And that's the benefit of having a teamwork for you, is they could just handle that, do it for you. Now, my team, they do take 15% of my deals, meaning whatever I get paid, they get 15% of that, which truthfully I think is worth it.
Sorry for that.
Those deals for me, and I'm just literally sitting here waiting for them to present it.
Yeah, like having management take a commission. Anyone who sells and makes someone else money, of course they're going to take a commission. Just found this on Instagram here. When you book an influencer, you're paying for photography, videography, location, creative design, model, video editing, agency fee, copywriting, photo editing, usage fees. So for the people in the audience that go, oh my gosh, geez, you'd get paid $1,500 just to post a photo, they don't realize that sometimes, first of all, you have to be your own accountant. It might be 9 months before the company pays. Maybe the company goes under, or they want to see deliverables. It might, don't get me wrong, I'm sure at scale, when your audience is big enough and you're charging $10,000 per campaign or more than that, it can become quite profitable, but it is a lot more of what happens below the surface than a lot of people have any clue about.
But it's a crazy, inconsistent game, and I don't really like it. There are certain brands that I love to represent, I love to work with. I think it's great to promote them. But at the end of the day, I don't have control over that, right? Like, I could have a great partnership with a brand for years and that brand goes out of business, and then what am I, So I think it's just really important for me, at least, to build my network and my income through various avenues.
Now, and I talk to Katie all the time about this, and I have not been shy with you guys on the Patreon about how much money my channel makes. Now, on average, is it breaking the bank? No. Have there been highs? Yeah. I had a month with 2 different channels combined where I made $33,000. Now, pay discrepancy or even just discussing pay can be very taboo for certain people because we have this lifestyle where bosses don't want you to discuss your pay. They don't want you to know how badly you're getting ripped off or that someone else was a better negotiator than you were. So it's very important to talk about. And I share all of this behind the scenes with the Patreon. I share how much the Patreon makes, how much my channel makes, yearly income, all these different revenue streams. I'm going to be starting a audio only version of my channel of the Bachelor News, where I have a daily roundup of all my news stories, which will be on podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, everywhere for free. And that, my hope, will be another revenue stream, because right now I'm very much dependent on how much YouTube pays, which has been good, but there's been such things as the adpocalypse where they've taken money away from creators, and anyone who's a part of my Patreon knows that the price I make per 1,000 views has fluctuated. Last year I got paid about 10% more per view for no real reason other than maybe the economy was in a better place. I'm not really sure. There really is no way to know. So when Katie talks about wanting some stability, in the end, for influencing, content creating, and working for yourself, the only way to have real stability is to own your audience, to have equity over your business. So you take someone like Grocery Store Joe. He probably makes $50,000 to $100,000 for his podcast, $500 to $1,000 a week. He turns the lights on and he hits record, and then some producer takes it. He doesn't have to worry about sales and commissions and all that. He gets paid a fixed amount, but he has no equity. He's renting out his time. Versus somebody like myself who spent years building up my business, but now it can't be taken away as easily because I'm not an employee of a specific brand like Bachelor. So when Katie mentions, the idea that you want to have basically different revenue streams with different clients, and the best way to do that is to continue to build your brand up to a size where it's undeniable. If you're Caitlin Bristow, and again, for Katie Thurston, she's still under contract with Bachelor, so it's very hard to do. But if you're Caitlin Bristow, she's got enough clout equity within her own brand that if Walmart goes, you know what, we don't want to put Spade and Sparrow in our brand, in our store, she can go, you know what, all right, let's try to get it in Target. If they don't want it, she's like, all right, let's go direct to consumer. I have a 50,000 email newsletter. Someone's going to buy this. It's the same reason when I spoke with Reality Steve last year when I said, hey, Reality Steve, do you think that you would have gotten canceled if they could have canceled you? And he said, yeah, maybe they would have, because he was under fire for things, and he so the best way to secure your job is to make it very hard to be fired or have multiple revenue streams. So if one thing goes down, if Patreon goes down, I still have ad revenue. If that goes down, I still have podcast revenue or whatever else. And that's just that's the life of freelancing.
So I just started YouTube. It's a work in progress, you guys. So thank you for hanging and watching it. I really do feel like, though, it'll be fun to watch this a year from now and just see it just morph, It's like when you, I'm trying to think of like an example. What's like a really good example? I mean, it's like when you're learning to write, you know, like in kindergarten, you remember how like your name used to look when you wrote like your name? And each year you just get better at writing your own name, and then all of a sudden it's like in cursive, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like 3D. I don't know. That's probably a bit much. But you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it takes time. And so right now I just really get very in my head about these video vlogs. I guess I could just say vlogs. Video blogs. Oh, see, and right now I'm just like, shut up, Katie.
And it's hard. It's hard to get the ball rolling and the momentum in whatever your business is, whether it's making soap or starting your Etsy page or writing articles on Medium, whatever it is you decide to do. It can take a while. It feels like trying to get a train started and pushing that momentum. But like we always say, leap and the net will appear. That's the mantra to live by. When you take action within your life and operate at a high frequency of love because you love what you're doing, of course. So it's no problem. It's no problem to me if someone's got, I don't know, a doctorate and they're working as a NASA engineer, but maybe all they want to do is open up a vegan bakery. And then it's like, open up your vegan bakery. Use whatever skills you learned from being a NASA engineer. Use whatever skills you learned everywhere in life and apply that and specifically push that in the direction of your dreams, and you'll be okay. You'll be okay, guys. And it'll be hard work, and you'll feel every moment of it, and you'll cry, and you'll laugh, and you'll shed metaphorical tears and physical ones, and you'll bleed for your company, and you'll work long hours, but you'll feel the return because you'll have stock in your own business. All right. I wanted to share one more thing. Oh, let's go to the 18th minute here. Katie had mentioned, I think, that she's coming to the wedding here. Of course, we're releasing this during wedding week. 18 minutes here. Let's see what she has to say.
Wedding next week.
Oh,
Dave.
Okay, here she is.
Relate to a lot of people. Yesterday's Monday, and Mondays are the worst. Mondays are the freaking worst. I have a wedding next week. Dave Neal's wedding, if any of you guys follow him.
That's rubbish,
again,
Dave.
hoping to be able to capture a little bit of it. But all these events I've been going to, not that a wedding is an event. It sounds like I don't want to loop this special day as, quote, like an influencer event. But
make it an influencer event.
I always think I'm
Katie,
going to document it. And
Katie's going to be at the wedding being like, this wedding's brought to you by Matcha Tea. Yeah, make an event. This is why, one of the reasons why we knew she would be a great guest, because, when you're an influencer, traveling, it's always good to be in a pretty hotel room if you have to shoot content. Bring content. Whenever Tasha, my fiance, whenever we're on vacation, she's like, oh, I got this dress I have to shoot for Revolve. Bring the dress. We'll walk down the promenade. We'll take some beautiful photos. That's the way to do it. All right. Well, this has been your update here on how alumni make influencer income. To answer the sort of vague question, it really comes down to how hard you're willing to work with the audience that you have. And it looks like Katie's got the skill set to really hustle. And I know about multi-goal syndrome. I understand what it's like when you want to accomplish it all at once, but when you're heading in the direction of your dreams and every day spending a little bit of time investing in yourself, you'll see the dividends pay off. All right, folks, let me know what you think. I'm on Patreon if you want behind-the-scenes content at patreon.com/Dave Neal, and I'll be back after this with more content. Bye, guys.